Mr. Fox or Mrs. Kafusi, in a gentle, civilized manner. Okay, so I'm going to give you the same lecture that I gave our House District 64 candidates. The delegates of the Utah County Republican Party are those to whom you have your first line of accountability as elected Republicans in our county. It is the delegates who are responsible for granting the privilege of placing an R next to your name on the general ballot in November. It is that for why we're here tonight. We are here so that the delegates can assess whether or not you are a Republican, whether you are qualified for this position, and whether you are electable or not. So, without further ado, we are going to jump in to our first question. All right. In December of 2024, the Commission approved a historic 47.99% property tax increase to mitigate a $15 million deficit, yet later debated a 2% salary increase for elected officials. Commissioners wield direct fiduciary authority over tax funds. Voters demand clarity on managing inflation and service costs without massive tax extractions from fixed income residents. If you condemn the 47.99% tax increase, what exact county departments, personnel, or state-mandated services will you defund to reverse that hike while maintaining a balanced budget? And we are going to be beginning with Mr. Bowles, who's closest to me, rotating through, and oh wait, no, we didn't do opening statements. Yeah. Oh, thank you. All right, so we've jumped the gun a little bit. Are you okay forgetting that you saw that slide? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Excellent. Same with you guys.
Yeah, well, yes.
All right, yes. We're going to do opening statements. Please proceed.
This question actually goes to exactly why I started to run.
You said you'd forgive. No,
I am. But the reason I'm running is because that's exactly what happened. We had two large increases in our taxes in the last couple of years. I've seen salaries of the county commissioners to go from $120,000 up to almost $170,000. You add that with benefits, and it's over $200 and some odd thousand, almost $230,000. To me, that was ridiculous. I can see that we are number one. If you look on the database, we are number one out of 50 states with the highest paid county commissioners. That's why I jumped in this. I want to reform our county government to get it efficient and manageable.
Thank you. Mr. Evans.
Yes, my name is Larry Evans. Just kind of an introduction. I've been in law enforcement for 42 years. Public service is kind of my middle name. I believe very much in serving you as the public. I look forward to serving the voters and the taxpayers of Utah County. I got involved in this because I think there's some things in the county that can be changed. I think there's some things, more than anything, I think there's a real disconnect between our county commission and you as the voters and you as the residents of the county. I would like to close that gap where I'm more accountable. We talk about transparency. I'm more interested in accessibility. I would have my door open at least one day a week for people to come and talk about the problems and things they would like me to address. I'm very concerned about the green belt and our people, family farmers and orchard owners and so on. So a lot of issues there that I'm very interested in attacking and addressing.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fox.
Okay, that's good. My name is Taylor Fox. I'm a resident of Orem, but I've grown up in Utah County sporadically. I spent 1 year of my married life over here by the fairgrounds, so that was awesome. I'm running because as a delegate, as a precinct chair, as being a part of the caucus process, I started seeing a bit of loss of my direct voice into the individuals that I was vetting and supposing that they would go forward and execute what I hoped they would. So a loss of that input really struck me, and as I've seen my county taxes inch higher and not knowing exactly what they do, I decided I'd figure out. And as much as I've learned, I still am scratching the surface I'm still trying to figure out exactly all that the county does. They do a lot, and I'm excited to harness that and shift it to focus on families and planning strategically, protecting families, and also allowing families to prosper. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Kafusi.
Thank you. Good evening, delegates, and thank you for coming out tonight. I'm my precinct vice chair, and I know this job comes with a lot of work if you do it right, so thank you for coming out tonight. Like was mentioned, my name is Michelle Kafusi. I was the mayor of Provo for 2 terms, and prior to that, 7 years on the Provo School Board. I've given 15 years of public service to the communities and to the folks. I love being a public servant. I believe in conservative principles. I believe in raising our families in a beautiful conservative community that we were raised in. I was born and raised in Provo. I want to come to the county and take my institutional knowledge that I have and hit the ground running on day one. There's a steep learning curve in this job, but I'm ready to go. And I am here tonight to hopefully win your trust and win your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
I'm Richard Smith, and I'm actually a resident here in Spanish Fork as well. So I'm glad that this is one of the items where we are close to home for me, at least. I actually work for the county, just like Larry does, but I don't work in the sheriff's office. I work in the assessor's office. So we're the ones that value property and for taxation every year. So the reason I'm running is because I, as a worker at the county, have seen lots of issues that I've seen between communication between the county commission and county departments and between our taxpayers. And I hear it every day. I hear people concerned about the taxes, the tax increases that we're going to talk about soon. And I am the one that has to tell them why. And it has been a very eye-opening thing for me working there, and realizing that those people, like most of our people here, don't get the information they need. And that's why I'm running. I want to help be that person.
Thank you very much. And building off of your divinatory, preview of our first question, so I will read just the bolded specific question, and we will begin with Mr. Evans on this one. So, if you condemn the 47.99% tax increase, what exact county departments, personnel, or state-mandated services will you defund to reverse that hike while maintaining a balanced budget? Mr. Evans.
Well, obviously, a balanced budget is required statutorily, but there are some things that I see as a direct challenge to change. Mr. Bowles just indicated that as far as the salary for commissioners. That's a great place to start. It's just extraordinary how they raised their salary. I have some issues with the mandates on UTA. I think those are things that we need to look at as far as maybe rolling those back. I don't like the way the system has worked on the UTA process. We've talked about how it takes cars off the roads. I'd like to see a survey to see if that really took place. The departments, I think we can do a better job of coordinating their efforts so there's not a duplication of processes, and reduce a lot of the budget that way as well.
Thank you. Mr. Fox.
The strong word that sticks out to me is condemn. I want to understand exactly why. I believe that we have currently logical county commissioners, and I understand that they did certain things, had certain justifications, and I want to understand exactly why that happened. That being said, once understanding is in place, I think as far as bad optics, yes, salaries could be negotiated and trimmed down. I certainly work with a lot less than that current salary. So, but beyond that, I think there's some red flags of the county budget that I've looked at. There's a low-hanging fruit that I feel like could be offloaded to local cities, primarily in the Parks and Rec area, as well as in the prison. There's a high level of overtime being paid to police officers. And I want to get curious about those specific things to understand what's going on there, and not go in there with a knife to hack and slash at it, but understanding that I can go in with a pragmatic vision of understanding what's going on and understand what's happening, and then dial it back along the way.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Kafusi.
Thank you. The buck stops here. If you're the elected official, you are held accountable. You are elected, and the seat is not yours. The seat is the constituents. That is your boss. That's who you answer to. I was just like everyone else in this county. When I opened my property taxes that night, I took it to work the next day. I was beside myself and mad at myself as well, because I got online and saw that they had held a public meeting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't love that. So there's some things we've got to do, but I'm here to tell you I delivered 8 balanced budgets as the mayor of Provo and never once did a tax increase.
Mr. Smith.
Yeah, on the tax increase, I know that was a lot. Like I said before, I actually talked to a lot of people about that specifically. The one thing that I do and am aware of because I work in the county is that a lot of this increase, most of that general fund budget actually goes towards the sheriff's department and the attorney's office. So that increase, I think in this case, a majority of it was probably overlooked for years. Because there are many tax increase things that are parts of the budget that are specific to certain departments. So the recorder's office specifically, their whole budget is focused on recording fees. So that's kind of where I'm at on it, but at the same time, like, there are things we should address. I do agree with almost all the candidates here that the commission, their salaries are quite steep, and we should look at that, and we should do it as a continual group. All of us should focus on that together.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Bowles.
As I said, the reason I got into this race was because of their high salaries. The question was, what would I do with the budget and that and departments? First off, I'd hate to cut any department that's efficient, so I would go in and look for efficiency, where we can find efficiency. The other thing I would do is I would go to the department head and say, you know, you ran, because most of the ones that are running here are elected officials, okay, auditors, clerks and that. You ran on being a voice of the people. Well, if your salary's too high, maybe we need to drop that down. So I'd start looking at the top. Does the commissioners have what they call a policy advisor? They would be gone if I had to balance the budget. We don't need those. The commission brought in 20 new employees. We don't need those. They need to be gone. They brought in a county administrator. We don't need that. That can be gone. Right there, just taking those things, we would decrease the budget by close to $1 million, if not over $1 million, just in efficiency with employees that are absolutely needed and those that are not.
Thank you very much. All right, on to our next question. In March of 2026, the Utah County Republican Party condemned public infrastructure districts as corrupt corporate welfare, while municipal leaders argue they are the only viable mechanism to force developers to finance massive utility expansions. A commissioner must navigate these uncompromising party demands while partnering with mayors facing catastrophic infrastructure deficits from rapid urbanization. If you align with the party's resolution that these districts constitute corporatism, what exact financial mechanisms will you support to ensure municipalities can fund sewer and water expansions without pushing the debt onto legacy taxpayers? And we will be beginning with Mr. Fox.
So I do align with the party's resolution. It makes sense that that is corporatism and it's favoring specific individuals and businesses that are, I would say, also pushed by the state to overdevelop or accelerate the development. And cities are paying the cost. I think Eagle Mountain, Saratoga, and obviously down here, we are seeing that rapid expansion come at a drastic cost. The living of the individuals who are here clashing with the people who are moving. And so mechanisms specifically would be working with the local leadership, the city councils, the mayors, to help them understand that if they want our infrastructure support from the county, they need to understand the full impact of these PIDs and data centers and other businesses that they are letting suck up the land, their energy, their water, and other utilities.
Thank you, Mrs. Kafusi.
So I'm just going to throw out a few acronyms that come from the state. PIDS, which is this one, LIDs, DIDs, RDAs, TIFs. It's a lot. There's a lot that comes down. And I'll tell you, as being the mayor for all those years and having to deal with each one of these, they can be a disaster. They can blow up, they can be out of control, and it does impact, because it's the taxpayers that are going to end up paying for it. I have seen some work if they are controlled by the leadership of your elected officials, where it's all written in the legal document of the planning agreement. It has to be so strict and so precise. Not a fan. Don't love it. They're complicated. They're for years and years, 10 years, ties hands, does some things that are tricky. But there's other avenues. This isn't the only outreach we have as an elected official. I've built relationships for 15 years. I brought in over $380 million.
Thank you very much.
Outside funding.
Mr. Smith.
PIDs are a disaster. I think a lot of us know that. One thing it really does is it really just makes the people who live there pay the costs now, rather like they're going to just pay them over time. They're going to pay them either way. So I don't see why we as a people would want to support that. It's really just trying to help front a lot of it, but the people are going to be paying it anyways. So they're going to pay for it whether you do it as a PID or whether or not you sell it as an outright lot, and those people put in that information and money at the upfront costs. So I don't think PIDs are good at all. The way we can try and get around that, I think, is to try and advocate at the state level to see if they can give us more funding for certain things like that. And then we can avoid kind of taxing certain areas for those certain infrastructure things.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bowles.
Yeah, I'm not a favor of TIFs or PIDs and all these special interests that they give to developers or to the big corporate people. Government is turned upside down. If you look at the federal government, we're supposed to be kind of a pyramid. The federal government have very little control, and then as it comes down to the states, they have more control, and then it comes down to the counties, a little more control, or I should say governing the people of what the people want. You get down to the city levels, and that's where the people decide what they want in their communities. For the state to issue a mandate that just because a developer wants to develop a piece of land and the cities have to comply is ridiculous. I would like to see that bill removed. We've turned it upside down. We need to turn, or the state and the federal government's turned that pyramid upside down. We need to turn it back so the top of it is the federal government, the bottom is the state.
Thank you very much. Mr. Evans.
Yeah, I also am opposed to PIDs. I feel bad for the people that come in. I work there in the county building doing security, and I've talked to some of the treasurers, and people come in and had no idea that their taxes were going to be so high, because that was kind of the hidden cost. I think they're an ambush on the people buying those homes, and I'm opposed to them. As far as where to find the funding, I think we also need to tap into state funds and stop bowing to the state and their mandates on affordable housing, but tap into some of those resources to find other ways to improve those areas without hurting the people that legacy you're talking about, those legacy homeowners. So.
Thank you very much. All right, our next question. In October of 2025, the Commission formally opposed the Utah Transit Authority's 2026 budget, which allocated $0 for new localized transit in Utah County, while funneling $96 million northward. Utah County absorbs 43% of state growth, requiring commissioners to negotiate priorities against state agencies that favor Wasatch Front mega projects over immediate vehicular gridlock in the south. Because the Commission lacks direct veto power over the UTA budget, what specific legal leverage, funding ultimata, or interlocal agreements will you deploy to force UTA to redirect capital funding into our localized transit network? And we're going to begin with Mrs. Kaufusi.
Okay, great. This is one that just makes my blood boil. It is so frustrating. I was elected president of all the mayors, and so in the state of Utah. So I was up at the session all day, every day, pounding the pavement, saying, local control, don't tell us what to do. And then I start seeing all this transit money going to the Davis County. All they know, we have got to make a stand. We are projected to be the biggest county. By the time the Olympics get here, we have got to be ahead of this growth and grab these dollars. I'm ready to go up there and have those hard conversations. Senator McKell knows when I walk in, I kind of drop the gauntlet on that, and I'm ready to do that again, because we are the county that the spotlight should be on. We are the county that should be getting all the outside funding to come and fix our road issues. These roads in failure mode, when they cut the ribbon on them, that's not okay.
Thank you. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, our county's growing so fast, especially that northern part of our county. And it's sad to see our taxpayers, our people who live here, even just the people driving through, deal with that same struggle. So when I would spend most of my time collaborating with the cities and pulling our weight as a whole to try and get the state to help us kind of pull that money back this way, because I think that's the only way we're going to do it, is if we get a collective effort of the cities down here and the county together saying, hey, we need the money here because you're not helping us. And to be honest, I used to live in Davis County. I grew up there. Davis County's fine. Utah County's got some real problems on the north end with transportation, and we need it way more than they ever would.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bowles.
I agree with basically everything that's said, is we have to fight for ourselves down here, and we shouldn't have to do that. We should be able to go to the state and say, look, this is our growth. This is the projected that's going to be happening in Utah County. We need some help, or we need some assistance, or the state needs to back off on all their mandates that they require on us. So it would be a collaboration with the cities in our area and go in with might and power, and instead of just always kowtowing down to the federal and to the state individuals, and make our voices heard and get the money that we deserve down here in Utah County for transit.
Thank you. Mr. Evans.
Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that we've needed a mass transit system here in Utah County. One of the meet and greets, I had someone suggest that we do a subway instead of buses. I'm not sure that's a smart use of money. But certainly we need to redirect the money that's being sent to other parts of the state. We've got to get together, because we live in a sphere, folks. We're all in this together. And we need to work with the other counties as well as the state. Again, these unfunded state mandates and these state demands on us as a county are just unrealistic and not fair to you as taxpayers or residents of Utah County. So again, it's taking a stand and finding a way to reallocate that money so it's distributed where it needs to be distributed.
Thank you. Mr. Fox.
I like the question is, how do we stand up to UTA?
Yeah.
So, and simple. It's basically starting at the state, focusing on when the state's in session, fighting at those doors, coalescing around one singular vision, mission as a county. I think we are pretty fractal as a county. Many in the northern parts, northwestern parts, south parts feel like they're neglected. And so when you feel neglected, when you feel left out of the conversation, you're unwilling to commit to the mission. And so it's a part of transparency, it's a part of collectivism that we need to be able to have as county commissioners, ear in every single city, be able to rotate through the county commission, be able to attend city councils from Santaquin all the way up to Saratoga Springs and Eagle Mountain. And so with that unification of voices, we can stand up to the state and also pull money back to Utah County as the funding, as we grow.
Thank you very much. All right, our next question. While the Commission established agricultural protection areas in 2024, state-level Greenbelt tax deferrals frequently incentivize selling prime acreage to corporate developers who can easily absorb exit penalties, to execute master planned communities. Southern Utah County is the epicenter of the state's agricultural heritage. We're very proud of that. But rapid commercialization threatens to permanently eradicate the remaining rural footprint. Aside from passive protection areas, what exact zoning enforcement mechanisms or county-level assessments will you implement to penalize corporate land bankers and prevent the mass conversion of active farmland into high-density commercial sprawl? We will be beginning with Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things we can do is we can try and make the conversion of changing property from the county to the cities in these areas maybe a little more difficult. Because a lot of these high-density type of developments don't happen in the county itself. They happen within city jurisdictions. So I think one of the big things we can do is when we do catch those people cheating the system and using these programs potentially that we have to benefit themselves, that we should hit them with the penalties that the state has even put in legislation. So in Greenbelt, if someone is not running agricultural goods or creating any kind of agricultural commodity, there is a penalty that we can assess those people. And I think we should utilize that at the county level, especially to say, hey, these people aren't doing the things they're supposed to, and we caught them in getting a tax break that they shouldn't be getting, and we should penalize them for that. There's even a state ability to do so.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bowles.
Yeah, the state, or these developers, I think, are selling us a bad bowl of nothing, because they continue to say, oh, we need to develop, we need to develop. We need to realize we also have to have agricultural. That's where our food comes from. And if we continue to force farmers to sell their property to these developers, it's only going to cause more problems. The other thing is, we're running out of resources. I think we're going to be in a drought this year, and we're not having the water that we've had. And so to allow developers to go in and build these high-density housing, which is really not affordable housing when you start adding on the PIDs and all that stuff, you are actually taking the resources away from those who have already been here. I'd like to see them do studies and saying, if you can't provide the water and you can't provide the energy at this point, then we have to slow down the growth. And I think that comes back down to the cities regulating and the county regulating that only so many units can be built at a time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Evans.
Yeah, this is kind of near and dear to my heart. One of the things that I stated when I started my campaign was to try to protect the family farmers, the orchard owners. That's a big part of our culture here in Utah County. I'm watching it disappear in Salt Lake County and other places. So yeah, we need to do some protection there. And they do, they find loopholes. It doesn't matter what the issue is, someone's gonna find a loophole to slip through it. And what we need to do is close that loophole, and as Richard indicated, the best way to do that is to increase the cost to them, find ways to pass that cost on to these corporations, these businesses that want to take away this farmland, so it's not such a lucrative thing for them, but we've got to protect our farmers and our culture here.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fox.
I love Utah County. I love how diverse it is, and I love specifically the green spaces down here. As a county, we have only so much, we would have so much dominion over the green spaces, and the cities are trying to appease a mandate from the state, which is the housing crisis. I'm with Brent on this, that there's going to be a water crisis, and I think water is going to be more important than almost housing in the coming years. And so focusing on that as a way of pushing it back against unnecessary development, excessive development, is going to be a really crucial tool that the county should take point on, and then work with the cities to coalesce around the goal of pushing back on absorbing all our green spaces and preventing that for future farm use for farmers who are already there and for families in the future.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Kafusi.
I'm a huge proponent, and any of you that know me know that I'm a huge proponent for private property rights. And we need our farmers to farm. If they want to farm, let us support you and protect you and help you with that situation. When I became mayor of Provo, there was huge development projected to come out on the west side. We weren't ready. We had no sewer lines, no curb and gutter, no drain, storm drain. So do you know what I did? I froze the growth and development on the west side. Do you know how much I got yelled at by developers? A lot. I was the worst mayor in the world. I don't care. We did the thing that we needed to do for the citizens of Provo. We needed to get the infrastructure in the ground, do it right, and then when we open it up again 3 years later, we roll it out slowly and intently. Listen, density it doesn't belong in our farm areas. Bring it to Provo. We have this thing called a UVX. There's stops. By each one of those stops, those transabs, that's where the density belongs. It doesn't belong out there.
Thank you very much. All right, our next question. During the 2025 municipal elections, the Utah County Republican Party emphasized candidate accountability to ensure elected officials uphold the platform, even within traditionally nonpartisan races. Commissioners must frequently collaborate with municipal mayors to solve severe infrastructure crises. However, voters elect Republican commissioners, expecting them to prioritize conservative fiscal and ideological principles over administrative convenience when negotiating these interlocal agreements. When the operational demands of municipal mayors directly conflict with the core tenets of the Republican platform, what exact framework will you deploy to ensure regional infrastructure execution never compromises conservative governance? And we are back at the beginning with Mr. Bowles.
Well, very complex question here because you have to get with the cities. You have to be able to have a good collaboration with the cities and a good working relationship with the cities. As a county commissioner, I'd like to expand our meetings that we have monthly and take them to different parts of the city or the county, to Santaquin sometimes, down in Spanish Fork or at their city halls, and be able to get the opinions of the people in those cities, not just having a meeting one day a month at 2 p.m. when nobody can show up. I'd like to see the county go out and meet with the other constituents out there in the other parts of the cities. The other thing I'd like to do is have a process where we as county commissioners grade ourselves.
Give it another test, see if it...
Okay, grade ourselves. In other words, we have peer reviews. I ask the other county commissioners what they've been doing in their areas, and they ask me, and we
Thank
collaborate.
you very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Evans.
It's been kind of interesting to talk to different people around the county, some in different parties or different political persuasions. And it's interesting that when it comes down to it, all of us pretty much want the same thing. We want safe streets, we want safe neighborhoods for our kids, we want good roads, we want government that's accountable. I think what you do is you develop a good working relationship with those different agencies and those different jurisdictions, because there's got to be a give and take. That's one of the things that really frustrates me with Congress. There just doesn't seem to be a give and take anymore. And so you develop those kind of relationships and you say, okay, I'll work with you on this, but you've got to understand I've got to stand my ground. These are my principles, but let's see if we can find a place for compromise and so we can all accomplish what we need to accomplish, because I think we're all wanting the same things.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fox.
So from what I gather, mayors are elected by the cities and they believe in the mayor to take the city in the next direction. And so I firmly believe that that's in good earnest faith, that people believe and they vote for the person that will take their city in the next level. And so developing the relationships with the mayors is crucial. And looking for a win-win, I think in any case, in any negotiation, you can always think win-win. And so that's a crucial element, as well as maintaining continued participation and investment in the caucus process. I think you as delegates you are closest to the action. We are part of a large party that cares a lot about the future of this place, of our Utah County, and you are the most invested. And so maintaining that participation, engagement, working with the leadership of the Utah County Republican Party will be absolute vital to bridging those disputes and helping them resolve effectively.
Thank you. Mrs. Kaufusi.
I'm just going to give a shout out to the best mayor in Utah County that's standing in the back, Mayor Mike Mendenhall. He is an amazing mayor. You are represented so well by him. He holds all your values and brings them to the forefront. I know when I started working with him, I learned a lot from him, and I value his strong moral stance on conservative values. When you're working with mayors, it's a nonpartisan race when you run for mayor. It's tricky, because everyone can say they're a Republican. But I am here to tell you, it feels so good right now to be a Republican in a Republican race. I'm a strong Republican. I believe in conservative leadership. I want you to know that the Utah County Republican Party endorsed me when I ran for the mayor of Provo this last election, and all the other candidates tried to get the endorsement as well. Those who know me know I draw the line in the sand, and we absolutely cannot compromise our Republican values.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, like many of them have already said, I think our biggest thing is just understanding their needs first. I think once we understand the city's needs and how the county can help, we can then draw the line and say, hey, we are willing to help prioritize these certain things that we see are important, but we're not going to go tax our people to death for it, or we're not going to go try and get a bond or something to help do that as well. So I think that's where we kind of need to draw that line. We need to say, hey, yes, we understand your stuff is important and hard on you, and then we need to say, which one is more important? I mean, I do that every day in my normal life. I say, is this most important thing for me to do right now, or this one? And I think we just need to do that as a whole. And then eventually we just have to say, if we don't have money for it, we're not doing it.
Thank you very much. All right. We are going to transition to our final question preceding closing statements. For those of you who were here for the last debate, this will sound familiar. Party leadership identifies a critical governance vulnerability. Elected officials defaulting to yes under pressure from lobbyists, non-governmental organizations, and internal leadership. When campaigning on universal tenets like the Second Amendment requires minimal courage, true operational resilience demands absolute, non-negotiable boundaries against special interests. Excluding universal conservative talking points. What specific piece of legislation or budget allocation passed in the county, I'm going to add, in the last 3 years would you have unequivocally voted against? And in what exact policy area do you guarantee a no vote, regardless of retaliation from your own political leadership? We're going to be beginning with Mr. Evans.
As far as bills or legislation that's passed by the commission, certainly their huge pay increase was one that I would absolutely have voted no for. Going forward, it's like I mentioned before, we've got to protect this county. We've got to protect our farmers, our ranchers, our fruit farmers. Anything that jeopardizes that green belt, jeopardizes the quality of life here, specifically as it relates to public safety and the protection of those things we hold true, and things of value, I would vote against unequivocally.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fox.
So I would go with the salary increase as well as the tax increase, at least to the point that they brought it up to cover that deficit. And in a strategical manner, I would probably disagree with the commitment, the amount of money committed to the Provo Airport. not you, Michelle. That's not targeted towards you. It's just
I take it
She's
personal.
up next, man.
the rebuttal. But I just see that tourism tax money could be pushed to other parts of the county and not just so locally controlled in Provo with the convention center, with the Provo airport. And so the second part of it, standing on moral values, the caucus way is the only way I would ever get the spotlight, and so believing in the caucus route, standing for what I believe in, and not having people bankroll my campaign is a massive way that, effective way that I can maintain my integrity and focus on what matters most to the average Utah County family.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Kafusi.
Interesting enough, there's so many thoughts going through my head on this one because this is a loaded question. I think I am the only one up here that has a voting record. I am the only one that is proud of their voting record. I'm the only mayor in the state that voted no on the mask mandate. I am the only mayor that has done highly conservative votes and opinions. When they tried to mandate a warming center in Provo, I'm looking at Mayor Mendenhall. I stayed up all night getting all the mayors in the county to sign a letter saying, do not mandate a warming center in Utah County. I am here to stand with the Republican Party and do what I've always done. So take a look at my voting record, check it out. The beauty of it is NGOs and all these special interest groups, they already know where I stand. They would come in my office and I'd meet them in the lobby and say, look, you've scheduled an hour. It
Thank
ends
you
right
very
here.
much, Ms. Kafusi. All right, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I think, like many of the others, I think one of the big ones is the passing of their salary increases. I think that's one that I would have voted against as well. I also, speaking of mask mandates, I mean, the county commission, they did approve a mask mandate, and I think that was wrong, and I think that's something they shouldn't have done. I think that's a government overreach. I think we should just, in general, should have just practice common sense, and I don't think that the government should ever step in on those things, personally. As for something I'd always say no to, and I think that's anything that compromises just my general integrity. Those things happen all the time. We have people ask for special favors. In the county commission, occasionally we have people where they are advocating for certain forgiveness of taxes, and I think generally, like, people should pay their fair share, and I don't think we should give handouts to everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Bowles.
Well, you already know where I stand on that with the commissioners, and that's why I'm running. I think that my integrity is more important to me, to make sure that I'm honest and trustworthy, and that you people can depend on me for transparency and to depend on me to fight for your needs. I also agree with the mask mandate that I would have said absolutely no. I work in the healthcare industry, and I seen the manipulation in the healthcare industry on this. When it come out, oh, you have to stand 6 feet away from one another. I said, where did that rule come from? Show me where that rule come from. Nobody could ever show me. No, I don't believe in mandates. I would fight for yours and mine. As I said before, your rights end where my rights begin, and vice versa.
Thank you very much. We're now going to transition. Did you have a... You went, right? At the big...
I went first.
Mr. Evans, I
Yes.
want to verify. Okay, excellent. We are now going to transition to closing statements. We're going to start with Mr. Smith and actually work your way towards me.
Here we go, sorry.
That's okay.
Failing my job.
I just want to start off by thanking you all for being here. I think that's one thing that I love to see about our Republican Party is that people are here to learn, to vet the candidates, that they want to see what I think, to see if my thoughts agree with their thoughts and opinions on things. So I appreciate you doing that. I just want to reiterate, I've had lots of experience working in the county and working with people. I currently oversee a majority of the people who interact with public on a daily basis. So I have that opportunity to see how people have issues day to day, and I like to try and help them fix those problems, and that's where I'm here today, because I want to help people fix those problems at a larger scale, and that's why I'm here, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kaufusi.
Again, I just want to reiterate thanking everyone for coming out and taking time tonight. It's important to do this. We have, I'm the vice chair of our precinct. We're meeting at 8:45 tomorrow morning to start going over all our vetting. It's important, and you're here because you care about your community. You care about the people that live here. I do too. I am homegrown, and I want to keep Utah County going in an upward trajectory. Fix some things. Again, hold me accountable. I've been held accountable for a long time. I'm used to it. Please hold me accountable, and please talk to me. I would love to earn your vote.
Thank you. Mr. Fox.
I'm here because of my family, and I feel like probably everyone here is as well. Whether it's your kids, your grandkids, your cat, I don't know. We all have families, and we all love our families. And I feel like that's a core motivation and purpose of Utah County. And I'm running because of that. I want to preserve Utah County that I got to grow up with, and that I can pass to my kids as well. And that's why I feel like it's absolutely crucial to have a person in this role who can plan well for the future, who can protect the families, both from expansion from businesses and from criminals. And then lastly, help Utah County citizens and Utah County families prosper. I feel like I have the passion, the knowledge, and the ability to do so, and I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Evans.
Like Taylor said, it's a love of family, but it's also a love of this county. I grew up in Orem and currently live in Salem. I've watched these communities change from orchards to neighborhoods to multi-family dwellings and so on. The biggest thing for me, folks, is that, and you'll hear this at convention, I am the committee to elect Larry Evans. I haven't taken a dime from anybody to run this campaign. I do not believe that I should be beholden to anyone but you, the residents and voters and taxpayers of Utah County. And I mentioned before, accessibility is absolutely vital to me. We may not always agree on things, but what I do agree with is that I will listen and I will do the best I can to accommodate your needs and your desires. This is your home. These are your values. We all live here. We need to work together to keep that quality of life.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bowles.
I got into this race, and some of the people asked me, what experience do I have? I have experience of being a business owner, small business owner, independent. I've worked to support my family. I know what it costs out there. I know what taxes I pay and how much taxes I pay. And I know that you pay way too many taxes. And when you get tax increases constantly, that's a burden to you. I want to take that burden away from you. My experience is sometimes fresh eyes are better than just experience. Sometimes we count on experience and we follow the same path when we actually need to follow a different path. I see that in the medical field all the time. We see new people coming in and they have new ways. And you know what? Some of those ways are a lot better than the old ways that we've been doing it. So I want to come in with a fresh set of eyes, a fresh set of ideas, and move forward to protect you. And I want to thank you as delegates. I was a precinct chair, still am, and also a delegate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bowles. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your candidates for Commission Seat A. I am going to ask you to stand up. Let's give them one more big round of applause. All right. If you are a Utah County delegate, Republican Party delegate in Utah County, please stand up. Excellent. These are your first line of accountability folks. These are the individuals who will determine who gets the R next to their name in the general election. If our party can't effectively parse out those who are not Republicans, those who aren't qualified, and those who can't win, we're not doing our job. So I ask now that whichever one of you is elected, remember that this is your first line of accountability. We are the ones who are very grateful that you have given us your opportunity this evening. Thank you very much. All right, if you are Commission Seat B candidates, please head over to that side.